Hello, Block One. This is my submission for the Senior UX Design role. Let me take you through my example. So here I started with sketches for the original build, and I used Instagram and Vero as comparables. So Instagram has a pretty easy layout. They really seem to compartmentalize all the information and buttons in a very nice place. For me, I liked having them with the sticky header, and I liked having a lower navigation bar that was always permanent. I think that having dedicated navigation controls in either the header or the footer has significant value because it's the placement of where those elements are that keep a user engaged and retain the understanding of how the user learns where things are. So, and their layout is very minimalistic, which is the Apple approach of things and the Google approach of things, and so I really like how they do that. That being said, it's very difficult to compete with a mobile app social platform that is as streamlined as Instagram. I started doodling out basically what they were doing and where they're placing elements. You have to be aware of the haptics areas, so each area has to be touchable because we're using a touchscreen with a smartphone. So that's that's one of the comparables. Then I went over to Vero, and I didn't really like it so much. It had a lot of gradient and sizzle, but overall, like the locations of these elements at the top in Vero, I didn't really understand how they worked or how they behaved, and I don't really know if they do either. They did have like sticky scroll areas that were nice modalities as you scroll up. The header of the previous article would stay until the new article is in the main frame, so I did like that. And I did like that they had a create a post button down here at the base. So then moving on over to my details, I liked how Vero kind of did the content view where they would tease the user that there were additional items. I still like this old school methodology of the dots below the image. Since we're incorporating video into this build or in this example, I kind of like having the video button as a more defined prominent with the dots below. And you'll see that in my design. I think that has significant value to showing users that there are multiple pages to click through, including a video that's in the sequence that would increase a scrubbing modality that I think users would want to do. Like I said before, I like the sticky headers when you scroll up gesturally, and I like the permanent sticky footer in the navigation. I wasn't a big fan of Vero's use of icons and features. I felt it was very overkill and it didn't really have a lot of significance. I felt like they were doing a lot of redundant behaviors in their application. So that being said, I took a couple of screenshots of Vero, and I see that they have, a dedicated area up here and a dedicated button down here. I like the way that they have using scrolling for this sticky temporary article size header thing. And I like the position of these two elements here where it's been simplified down even more than Instagram has done. And obviously the universal more button, I did like that too. What I don't like is that they're fitting this image inside a frame with this gradient background. And so you don't get a full frame experience in this view here. So see, like this scroll thing, this is cool. And I like that you right away you can like the particular thing, but the limitation here with this gradient background, I didn't like that. So there I am. So then moving to Instagram, which everyone understands and knows, but I just brought it up for an example. See how simplified they have the article author and their information along with the full frame image, and then minimal icons for connectivity, and then a sticky footer. And then as you scroll through, there is not that header thing that Vero has, though we could repeat that into our build if that was something that we wanted to have. In the end, the more flash that you have, the more uploading power it takes, the more memory it's going to take, and so ultimately Instagram with the simplest, minimalist Occam's razor approach is quite nice. So scrolling through that stuff. On to the build. So the build, I went ahead and followed your rules. You stated to come up with an experimental high fidelity wire of an interior layout, photo, video, text, and comment screen. So I'm using a design for an iPhone 8. So the iPhone 8 parameters, I think it's like 480 width, something like that. But anyway, if you were on an iPhone 8, this is what you would see for your interior article page as requested for the test. And this is just showing an author with similar stuff like Instagram, but I've kind of moved some of the elements around because I feel like some of it needs to be exposed, like the date in which the article was published, maybe some more verbiage about what the article is, and then I used the same kind of Vero modality here for comments and likes. I added another feature called Save for Later, which Facebook does pretty prominent. I think it has value here too to put it into our build. So that's how this is. And then, like I said before, we have this plus symbol down here like on Vero. I think we could do it on Blockshare as well. And then as far as navigation stuff, I've got this is equivalent to the airplane in Instagram or the chat in Vero. This is the same as a notification symbol that Instagram uses. I didn't like the one that Vero was using, so I just copied it over. This is the Save for Later section, and then the search tool. The home would basically bring you back to like the discovery section of the UI, and then here's my avatar photo in the corner. That would take me back to my blog page or all of the stuff that I've posted myself. Second frame here is more about the requirements, which was create an interior layout about photo, video, and text. So this is basically a photo or a photo. And then here's a video. And so one of the neat things that I added in here, if you can see, is right down here. You have the selected state, which is this image, but it's also teasing that there's a video next, and then there are two additional images that you can cycle through. So this would be a left to right scrub. You'd scrub from left to right, and eventually you'd get to the video, and then the third picture and the fourth picture. I think this is very subtle. It's old school, and it's the way most people, users, will identify a left-right scrub. So I added that little feature set right in there. And then over here, like, we could use a modality where if you scroll up, the video could autoplay based on position of where the video is on the touchscreen. And then this is also showing, indicating that the video is currently the active state within the sequence from left to right. And lastly, you said you wanted a screen to display comments. So most of these screens tend to be the same. Vero treats the same treatment as Instagram does, and vice versa. It's very similar. I'm a big fan of the Yelp and YouTube way in which they display comments, and so I kind of broke it up a little easier to where you've got the timestamp in the upper right corner, which is repeating over here in the article view, and then you've got comments and likes and the reply below each of these things. This is kind of how Instagram treats it, but we're still using the same iconography visual language to dictate how it will behave and look, the cognitive relationships of all of these icons across each screen. And then at the bottom, if you wanted to add an additional comment, you could. It shows your avatar down here, which is pretty standard, along with a comment box and a post key. And that ends my test. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will send you over the working file right after the video.